Absolutely, it's Shazam Poop calling out, asking if Numbers Committee is watching. He says, I'm too good, I have a hat trick, you can't stop me. Let's see, he's still down by a goal.
That's a bold move. Let's see how it plays out.
He's gonna transition into it.
Jamie with the long ball. That's going to be off the backboard. The Devil and the goalie. Enigma with the goal. That's going to be the dagger for sure. 20.
Over to Viglio from Judgmental. Viglio gets first touch, can't get the second. Judgmental puts it into no man's land. Canadian Things there now with a lot of boost to work with. Air dribble towards that. Canadian Things with the game winner.
Ray waiting for it. Ball out in no man's land. Gets up. Gets the extra touch. Oh my gosh. Trey with the LOB, putting in work like that's his JOB, and I cannot believe that is a one-man wrecking ball.
Watch out, Beck's really proven to be a game changer in this best of 7 here. A shot maybe coming down from Nautical, not able to read that touch from DQ though, and Og trying to get another touch. DQ dumps it down. Don't forget, this is match point.
Welcome back to another great week of the Pre-Jump podcast, now your official affiliate of the RSC podcast. Joining me on the desk today, obviously there's myself. We've got Hannon Grenade, normally producing, but coming out of his little hidey hole today to join us. Robert7977, GM of the Cosmos, and guest starring for us tonight, we've got Mr. Ncreds himself, the Twos League legend here. You want to give our audience a little bit of information about yourself?
So I've been in RSC since season 5. This is my second year of GMing. I am an admin in the Twos League. Been here for a while. Also, real quick before I'm done, shout out to Rig Fam and Nizzle. I know, I think Rig's birthday is today, and I think Nizzle's is tomorrow or Monday. So happy birthday, boys.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
What's the GM?
Do we sing?
Shouting out his teams. No. We're not. I can't sing. I'm terrible. No, it's not. That's if y'all want to sing, I won't stop you. But no, I do want to kind of go over something that we really kind of glanced over with in the first 2 seconds. Mr. Hannon, Mr. Roberts. Obviously, we have some exciting news this week, being our first week as the official affiliate for RSC. So we are the affiliated podcast, your official one.
Do we sing?
Sing for that?
No, I don't want to.
Come on, man.
No,
Maybe I'll do a jig. I don't know.
A jig, Rob. Let's do a jig.
Watch you dance.
Let's
more
do a
than
jig.
I want to listen to you sing.
Light the fire behind you. Turn the lights down low. Do a jig.
Oh man. Whew, God.
I'm done interrupting you.
No, you're good, man. You're good. For a lot of people at home, though, we're going to go ahead and start getting into week 1's recap. Otherwise, we like to now call it the scoreboard. As we, actually, no, I almost forgot. Got to pause here. Almost forgot. We did want to shout out one person this week, Mr. Monty, one of our admins for RSC 3v3 server. He's been a tremendous help in terms of actually getting this affiliate program through and being our middleman to run a lot of probably terrible questions from me just about what we do and not do. So shout out to Monty. I don't know if he's watching or not, but give him a good old round of applause here.
Monty! Monty!
Golf clap.
Monty!
God. But no, like I was saying though, let's get in here into the scoreboard. We'll get into week 1 in review, starting with Chally. We're going to go over the biggest impact players, people with the highest SPVs and IDRs. Starting us off for SPV, we've got the Wheelman 95 from the Breadsticks. Finished off week 1 with a 101. Your Doomed 181 from Void. Finished off week 1 with a 93.6. Moose 182 from Yig. Finished off with an 80.2. And then on the IDR side, the Wheelman 95 from Breadsticks once again. 125.86. Free from Squalls at a 101.02. And then Miso from Fusion at a 99.7. I mean, I know it's week 1 and it's really early, but a 101 for an SPV, guys, that's pretty important, right? Start the year off strong.
Absolutely. 100 is kind of that threshold for MVP favorite. You know, anything above 100, you can almost guarantee that they're going to be in that conversation. Even if it's early, just the ability and potential to pop off like that on a weekly basis is a sign of things to come, if nothing else.
Hannon, you look puzzled down there.
100's so much.
It is.
How many a lot of goals, a lot of saves? I don't know how
Oh,
I don't know how SPV works. It's just a big number.
Speaking of goals, actually, that's where most of the Wheelman 95 gets his SPV from. He's actually our goals leader. So going into goals, our top 3 people in goals for anybody who's played at least 75% of their games for week 1, we've got the Wheelman 95 who had 16 through 8 matches. He's averaging 2 goals a game. Stellar. Kujiko 234 from Leo has 13 goals, and Miso from Fusion has 12 goals. So I'm not super familiar with how SPV is entirely calculated, but I do know goals matter, and the Wheelman 95 showing it. 16 goals.
That is a lot of goals.
In my history, SBV is a lot more offensively oriented, where the IDR that you mentioned as well is going to be a lot more of that defense and full play. So SBV, you're going to see guys with that 16, 17 goals really flourishing, where maybe your more all-around players pop out in the IDR statistic.
And that's pretty wild then that Wheelman has both the highest SPV and IDR, right? Because he's got the 101 SPV and 125.86 on the IDR.
Absolutely. That is really impressive. And again, if you're at the top of both of those stats, there is a pretty high chance that at the end of the season you are going to be looking good in the playoffs, looking good in the All-Star conversation. You're going to be making some noise within your tier.
So he is him. Yeah.
Week 1 Himothy. Week 1.
Yes,
Week
sir.
1
We'll
Himothy.
see how
All
we'll
right.
see how week 2 goes.
All right. Week 1 Himothy.
One MVP.
Week 1 MVP. I like that.
Your assist leaders, though, as we move on here, we have Parmesanzo from Havarti Hustlers. He had 10 assists in the first week. Free from the Squalls had 9 assists, and Blood 12 Avon from Breadsticks had 9 assists. Now, Blood 12 Avon from Breadsticks having 9 assists makes sense. I mean, the Wheelman had 16 goals, so it kind of tracks, right? But
Yeah.
Parmesanzo having 10 assists and neither of his teammates being in the top 3 for goals, he is definitely facilitating a good midfield to both his players.
Absolutely. An assist total like that, again, you're talking about someone who's impacting the entire field, right? It's not just that there's one guy who maybe this guy's lobbing the ball up and some mechanical genius is just putting the ball in the net every time. If you got those goals split up between 3 separate players that evenly, and your assist numbers are that high, that truly means that no matter who is where, you're facilitating and creating those openings in that space and those opportunities at a really high level.
For sure.
Did they just dumpster their opponents?
You know, I didn't check, honestly, but I would suspect so. I mean, when you're facilitating that many goals, you probably should be beating down your opponents.
They had to be. You had to. Unless they're the highest scoring games.
3 games with nothing and then 1 game with 11 goals.
Yeah. So I was imagining a 9-9 overtime. That's what I was imagining.
9 overtime. God.
Zach W in the chat says that 1 game was 9-1.
That's a lot of goals.
That makes sense.
That
Makes
tracks.
sense.
That absolutely tracks.
Jumping into saves here, we have Moose 182 from Yig having 17, really reflecting in their SBV here. We've got Cryptic Games from Cake My Day having 16, and You're Doomed 181 from Void having 15. So 2 of your SBV leaders from week 1 are actually 2 of your saves leaders.
It's interesting, again, as we were talking about that offensive versus defensive disparity that you see in SPV to IDR, that the saves leaders are up there. So it must mean that they're facilitating in a lot of other ways as well, which is interesting to see. A lot of the times players with a lot of saves get so by maybe they're not rotating. You know, it's not necessarily always a good thing if you're getting a lot of saves. But with these players having all around games like that, and a number reflecting that means that it's coming in the course of the actual natural gameplay and rotational style, and in a really positive way.
True. True. If you guys don't have anything really else for this part, I'll jump into some of the biggest surprises I saw from Chelly this week. First one, so normally, like on Lunar, you see some teams really assert themselves up towards the top, some towards the bottom, and one or two in the middle kind of hold up that 4-4 spot. Solar for Chelly, though, has 7 teams currently at 4 and 4. Very even. The parity is very present in that Solar conference. So I know it's only week 1, but you hope to see that for the rest of the season. See some real good competition up till that last week. See who fights for that playoff spot.
7 teams in the same conference at 4 and 4 is kind of some unheard of parity. Being that even, that equal throughout the entire conference, top to bottom, generally speaks to this conference, this entire tier being wide open. So I'm really excited to see who comes out on top and who continues to put up big numbers, big stats, and most importantly, wins.
For sure.
We really talk about playoffs week 1? Do people think about playoffs
Talking
week
about
1?
playoffs?
Playoffs week 1?
Hey man, this is all
It's always a
every
basketball
stat,
podcast.
everything we talk about today is going to be a little too early, right? Because I mean, we were talking about Wheelman having 101 SPV. It's easy for a player to get figured out and drop, but everything we talk about today is totally just speculative.
Well, going off that, right? It's obviously early to be talking about some things, but what else are you going to talk about in the first week? So there are numbers to discuss here, and whether or not they should be taken with a grain of salt, they probably should, but they do mean something, and it's time to parse through the smoke and mirrors and find which one of these players, which multiple of these players are actually here at the top to stay, and why are they?
For sure.
And Creds, you're a GM and the only GM on this podcast.
Do you think about playoffs week 1?
No, not at all. What you want the first week is to just see how the team went, whether it went well, whether it went bad, see if you need any immediate changes. You have to give teams time. So yes, it's only week 1, but there's some give and take with it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I love seeing Hannon smile down there because he knows what he did. He said that the only GM on the podcast.
The Cosmos. I apologize. Poke Ninja and Blizzy. I'm aware Rob is the GM of the Cosmos.
They know.
He
knows.
He cut me like 2 seasons ago, so no, he's not.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not GM in your heart, but you're a wonderful player.
There's only one person that fills my heart, and it's Mr. Skimothy.
Dr. Skimothy Milkman.
Dr. Skimothy.
Someone said the Cosmos as a hive mind GM.
That makes
I can
sense.
see it.
Who told them is the only question.
TD is definitely still. I don't see anybody else matching their names to yours in the Cosmos Discord. That's all I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Before we sidetrack too hard here, let's kind of get back onto
My
these
bad.
biggest surprises. For the next one on the list here, so I did do some digging. So Wheelman95 having 101 SPV kind of caught me off guard, and I wanted to see where they came from. Obviously, could they be a DE? Were they moved up from last season? Did they come down from rival? No, they were a Chally player last season. They played 18 games, mostly for the Quad Dynasty. They had an SPV of 8.9. So in one season, that 92.1 SPV change definitely shows that the right system really makes the player.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it has a lot to do with, as you said, just kind of the situation, a fresh start potentially, new team, new mentality, new season even could be all it comes down to. And there's a lot of growth, if nothing else. The ability to go from, what did you say it was, an 8.9?
8.9 to 101.
Really
That
low
is
to really high.
Incredible. Incredible.
Oh god.
Oh, get him out of here. No, we can't do
man.
that. No, get him out. We need...
Alrighty.
All right, if you are watching here, we're going to open up applications.
real quick, because you brought up the system you're playing in. Let's not downplay the work that was put in to go from an 8.9 to a 101.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't just do that because of a system. That's also practice. We talk about practice week 1. Practice. That's incredible.
So I actually reached out to the wheelman and kind of wanted to just get some basic questions from him, or a couple of answers here. So I said, hey, you had a great week 1 performance. What went into the preparation to play with such dominance? And he said, well, it wasn't only me in the spotlight. The team dominated this week. My teammates are phenomenal players to be with, and we fit each other's play styles so well. So I do love that not only is he killing it, but he's also respecting his teammates and who's out there to help him win. Totally a fantastic answer.
Nitro, the player, is Wheelman. What was it? Wheelman?
Wheelman 95, your
Wheelman
current
95.
SPV and goals leader in Chally.
What he said.
I prefer you have more of an ego, to be honest. Like, just a little bit, not overly, but just a little bit more of an ego.
What he should have said to you was, I'm the best that's ever did it, best that's ever done it. Every day I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence.
See, he gets it.
That's what he should have. That's what he should have said.
Everybody, there are a lot of people with some big egos, myself included. Obviously, I've been humbled pretty hard by Elite this season, but you know, it's kind of nice though. It's a little refreshing when you see 1 or 2 players that aren't. Yeah, look at me. I'm the greatest to ever do it.
Especially ones that are actually succeeding, having that success, SPV, MVP conversation, and still putting that love to his teammates is something that's really, really positive, and you always love to see.
And for the second question, I did ask him going into week 2, do you think he can replicate the success? And he said, yes. Going into week 2, coming off such a high note last week, there's no reason to take the foot off the gas pedal and keep that baby floored. So, yes, he's definitely pretty humble in his answer, but I do think he's got confidence. He's ready.
I think he's clearly shown it. Absolutely just dominating, you know? There's nothing short of that going on. I think he's going to probably continue to do the same thing moving forward. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Not to interrupt, but Nitro, boosting boss's ego is bannable here.
I don't know. I like it. I'll take it every day of the week.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do that. Please don't do that.
Thank you.
Oh, man. I love it.
Please and thank you.
So, last thing really for biggest surprises. So, we have team consistent. We have the Squalls, who last season finished 41-19, finished first in Chally. This season, they're tied for first again, 7-1. Obviously, with a new season, you're going to lose some players here. But with refilling with free an acquisition from the Havarti Hustlers who struggled and finding the right system that works, they've really found a winning formula to repeat some good success here.
Having players stick around in any tier, speaking as, you know, maybe if Hannon wants to include me this time as the GM, having players stick around in the tier makes it a lot easier to build around. You know, and so that sustained success can come from, hey, I know what I got with this guy. Maybe even if you have 2 or 3 sticking around, usually 2. You know what you need to go from where you are to take that next step, or if you're already there, you know what you got, and you just fill the gap left by any player moving up, moving down, taking a break from the league.
Hey, fair. Hannon and Kreds, anything there? Or
I don't have a good players or a GM's input to say in this. I just play the video game, and I drive around.
Rob is right. It is hard to build teams that are brand new. We had to do that this year with amateur and contender. So I think Shenmue to rebuild the team completely correct.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
All the power to Shamu, honestly.
Yeah, so it's rough. And I think Shamu does the same thing that we do. We try to build through the lower tiers because they're going to go up through the draft, or up through the tiers, right? So, for instance, you shouted out Monty. I drafted Monty in Season 10 in Amateur. He moved through our ranks, for the most part, give and take, all the way up to Elite.
Nice.
So like that's the dream, right? Is to draft people, keep them, mold them, and have them go up through your tiers, which is what Shenmue's trying to do, which is a great idea.
Hey, it obviously works, builds a good community, especially with some faces that stick around for. So I definitely can see why that's super important.
Wait. Are you're talking about player development? We do that here? This isn't just beer league softball?
A little bit, just a little.
That's
Just
awesome.
a little.
On the franchise.
So I'm genuinely excited. It's the first time I've heard that talked about here, huh? And that's why it's just awesome.
You could have showed up to the Chally replay review yesterday, hung out with us.
You're in charge of that. I'm good.
So the biggest improver for the teams, Breadsticks. Obviously, they've acquired the Wheelman 95 and oh my god, I'm here Blood 12 Avon, third highest assist total here. They went from season 16 being 17th, tied 30-30 to end the season, to season 17 tied first, 7-1. So I mean, they definitely acquired the right pieces in a rebuild. Really just ignored how they played last season, started anew.
It's a dope name.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
absolutely.
It's an absolutely dope name.
Also, touching on that prior point, Chulane mentioned in chat that especially if they're staying in a tier, those players you already have can help evaluate the other talent compared to the tier, and I think that's a really valuable point that I wanted to shout out that he made in the chat.
Real quick, who's Chulane?
I mean, might be another one of those GMs. Wouldn't really know.
Just kidding, Chulane. I love you.
If we're asking me, Chulane is the GM of the Elements. Official GM.
I actually traded away the keeper pick for my own spot in Elite 2 seasons ago, and he came through with a little pick swap at the very end of the trade window. It was very close to having to cut myself. Not physically, but...
Fun fact about Chulane. They've also cut me in the past, so there's that.
That's probably well deserved, though, to be fair.
Oh, goodness.
This is a long time ago. They literally might not remember. It's a very long time ago.
I also have a fun fact about Chulane. He's the best Golf with Friends player I've ever seen in my life.
All right. This is
challenge accepted.
Week 5
challenge accepted
of the pre-jump here. Now
challenge accepted. No.
Let's get into match day 3.
Challenge accepted.
Let's get into match day number 3. The best matchups to look forward to in week 2. So match day 3 in division play starting. On the solar side, you've got Squalls, who are tied for first at 7-1, playing against the Deceased, who are tied for 13th, 4-4. Now, obviously, we know Squalls are a really good team here. I believe their MVP for the series is going to be Free. I think they're going to take 3 of the 4 games, if not all 4. They look like a really solid offensive powerhouse. But this is going to be a great series to watch. I think they're going to be able to farm some stats here.
Yeah, if the Squalls are to keep up what they're doing, I don't know if anyone can really get in their way, So this is going to be a fascinating matchup to watch as they look to continue their dominance.
Fair.
If I've said it once, I've said it a bunch. Sounds like a lot of goals.
It's going to have to be so. On the lunar side, match day 3, we've got Nebulae, who are tied for 6th at 5-3, and the Wheelchairs, who are also tied for 6th, 5-3. So it's really solid. Their stats matched up pretty evenly here. I don't know if any one team's really going to set themselves apart, but if they do, it's going to be a statement win for sure. I'm predicting a split of 2-2, but like I was saying, this could be a point where a team can really assert themselves and say, hey, we can play against great talent. We're here to stay.
Chiming in on that really quick, Nebulae is actually my challenger team. We have been without our second round pick up until this point. He's been unable to play. So shout out my guy Goose, Tearless Goose. He should be coming back this week. And as you said, we're looking to make a statement win and kind of let people know that, yeah, we're 5-3, but we're looking to make a push through the top of that pack.
You're a GM?
You wouldn't know it, but I am indeed.
I didn't know that. Good luck to your Charlie team, though, for real.
Thank you,
For real,
man. I appreciate that.
Good luck to your Charlie team.
In match day 4,
Oh my god.
for the Solar side, we've got Leo who are tied for 13th and Spearmint who are tied for 13th. They're both 4-4. This is going to be another great matchup. Two fairly even teams on the books here, but with Kujiko 234 being one of the league's leading scorers, they're going to be somebody that the Leo team really has to look forward in a kind of orchestrating an upset, taking more games and getting out of that average section.
I just hope they can do it. Can you give us any time to think?
No.
Like any time at all to ponder.
You told me you just do.
And when I do that, we get off topic like right now. Any time to ponder.
Nobody told me coming on here I had to think, by the way. I'm not.
I'm gonna blame our producer for reaching out and not informing people they need to think on the show.
I'm not capable of that.
That's me.
That is you.
I didn't think to tell them to think.
Hey, you know what we just do around here? And speaking of just do, let's talk about this lunar side match.
Yeah.
You've got Fusion tied for 4th at 6-2, and Yig tied for 6th at 5-3. Gonna be honest, like I was talking about on the Solar side, you're gonna have one really key X factor here, I believe, in Miso, that's really going to be able to give them the lead, take a few extra games. And I know it's really close in the standings, but with Miso being such an impact factor here, I think they might take all 4.
They're up against who again?
Yig, who's tied for 6th, they're 5-3.
Miso's the X factor.
Yig is the Tech 4 team, correct?
Believe so.
I think so.
It's over. Yig's taking that in 4.
Oh.
Yig's taking that in 4.
Yig's taking it in 4. It's a Tech 14.
Oh.
Over. All right. Fair enough.
Okay. So Miso doesn't matter to you?
Nope.
Okay.
Wow.
You don't like Miso soup?
I'm just a hater.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
So, also on the other end, we've got our dark horse predictions here. Teams that may have struggled a little bit in week 1 that we think are going to rebound pretty hard going into week 2. So, first one for it, we got the Jock-O-Lanterns from Solar. They're 3-5, but they're going to be playing against a struggling Kodal team on match day 3. And on match day 4, they play a currently mid-tier team that's 4-4 in the Bulldogs. That's definitely going to give them the opportunity to kind of farm some stats here, maybe figure out some issues that are going on with some slightly easier competition to regain after a pretty rough opening.
I hope they can do it.
I agree. That makes a whole lot of sense. You've laid out a good reason why they're going to bounce back, and I look forward to watching them do it.
For sure. And then on the lunar side, we've got Shinigami. They played against they're going to be playing against 2 fairly mid-tier teams. They're going to be playing against Tarantulas, who are 4-4, and the Threshers, who are 3-5. Really gives a chance for Shinigami to prep for tougher competition like the Jock-O-Lantern. But they also made a new acquisition. They're going to have a new player in the mix. I talked to Enigma, their captain, and I asked about how they had a pretty pedestrian week of competition going in. Well, he responded saying that he was fairly confident in their matchups this week. They're looking forward to this week very eagerly, and they're feeling that if things click right with their new player, Dondo RF, this should at least be a 6-2 week. So I'm definitely excited to see how this team plays out, especially considering I know Dondo personally. He's a very good player, very good all-around person, and being picked up by a team that he's already seems to be meshing with pretty well should lead some wins.
I could talk on this one actually because I also know Dondo. I've played with Dondo. He will help any team. Any GM who got Dondo off of their team should be crying at night. Or a GM, more specifically, who got Dondo off of their team should be crying at night. That's a huge loss.
It totally wasn't super hard or anything to cut somebody that I've known for so long.
Good luck to Dondo with your new team. I think you're going to help that team out a lot.
He's better off.
I completely agree.
Yeah, fair.
Dondo's in the chat, being a hooligan. Funny guy.
Dondo's a hooligan.
Love him. But that kind of concludes our Chally portion here. We're going to go ahead and switch over to Elite. Mr. Robert7977 here. Otherwise, our our primary GM on the podcast can go ahead and walk us through some stats.
Elite is my home. I've been here for 4 seasons, so I know it better than anybody else. So hopping straight into it, going straight into the biggest impact players in week 1 in Elite. We have a guy on Boss's team, and that's top of SPV, MVP favorite right now, Palo Soul. He's been in Master since season 9, couple breaks in between, but this is his first season back in Elite, and he is looking to take it by storm. Second in SPV is Abe, or AEB 311. Oh, sorry. Palo has a 97.3, so absolutely dominant SPV to start the season. Abe 311 is with an 85.2, and Anthage is an 83. Abe is also a former Master player. Been in Elite here and there throughout that, but it's his first season back in RSC since season 12, and again, just really coming out guns blazing. And Anthage, everyone knows him. He's been actually in Master since season 8 of RSC, so a very long time, except for one Elite season where he dropped a 70 SBV, so you know exactly what you're getting with him. This 83 is probably here to stay. On the IDR side of things, we got a guy named Argnor with a 103.5, another former Master player. Been in Elite since season 9, 50 plus SBV every single season. So really, really positive numbers trending every single time he's here. I'm old Greg 67, great name, with 100.75 IDR. The one real surprise on this list, he actually had a 15 SBV over about 30 games in Elite last season. So he is coming out. He's the only one here who's not a Master demote. He went straight from Rival to Vet to Elite last season, and this season he seems to be really asserting himself. So I'm excited to follow what he's doing. Moving on to the stat leaders. We starting off with the goals. That guy, Argnor, 103.5 IDR, leading the way with 13. Your teammate, SBV leader Palo Soul, at 12, and then Soup and Sir McDouble are also tied for 12. I have 11.
So that's definitely sorry to cut in here. That's
No, go
definitely
ahead.
impressive. So playing in Elite for the first time ever, coming from Rival, I'm used to a little bit more time in establishing plays, a little bit more time for flicks, maybe going for a ceiling shot. But with how fast these Elite guys are, getting that many goals means that they are quick, they're accurate, and they are to the point. They're not messing around.
They are zooming through the sky and taking no prisoners. Straight to the point, dominant, speedy, punishing any and every mistake that you see.
Old man Greg is getting more dominant with age. Call it old man strength.
Mayhaps. He seems to be.
Oh, it was a good run. See you guys. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about your team a little bit later.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Going into the assist totals, we have our third in SPV player, a 311, leading the way at 10, tied with my teammate Slider, and Mike is my Ike, also at 10. And then your saves leader, you have Mr. Felon at 20, Mesmer at 19, and then Anthage and Rex at 18.
Did you say 20?
20 saves.
20 saves in 8 games.
Yes, indeed.
That's bad.
Jiminy, did he play all 8?
That's real
I
bad.
believe so. Yeah, it would be ridiculous to get 20 without it.
I gotta while you're going, I gotta double check that because I could have swore we had Mr. Felon in preseason.
I got the eight games played, 3
Okay.
and 5, 20 saves.
That's still wild. That's almost 3 saves a game.
That
Yeah,
sounds like
that-
not a lot of goals.
Sounds like a 3 and 5 record.
It sounds like your team's getting shot on.
Yeah.
I'm melted.
I mean, to be fair though, they're getting shot on a lot, but God, dang,
He's
they're-
answering the call.
Yeah, he's.
I love shot. That's a lot of shots. To take.
Yeah.
Tulane just put it. He's just daring teams to shoot. Just like
It's
shoot.
gotta be.
Yeah.
I don't know what
He
else.
interesting to statistic. It's not that frequent that people have the same number of saves as shots, but Felon's got 20 of both.
Wow.
So interesting. Don't quite know what to do with it. Interesting little tidbit there.
I can't even
Just to
think
keep
of
track of.
how the game would have to play out to get that many.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's
lot of pressure.
saves. Felon
So
is the goat.
Yeah, so
Felon.
obviously he's the week 1 MVP for Elite. Felon.
Oh, 100%.
Lock it in. Lock it in, boys.
Lock it.
Absolutely.
Congrats, Felon. Congrats.
Congrats. And then we got. So basically, what we're seeing is a lot of the top SPV and IDR guys obviously are leading the way in goals, assists, and saves. The numbers also are a little bit higher than that in Chally for everything except goals, which I find interesting. Maybe goals would become a little bit harder to come by, whereas almost every goal might be assisted, and there's more pressure, so maybe more saves coming out of it. Interesting
Let's-
tier differences.
That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like with Elite, it's just so much faster. You don't have time to really establish some of your shots. So for sure, goals are going to be kind of hard to come by. People are playing defense pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, so moving on to, unless anyone has anything else to say about the specific statistics at all.
I'm good. I don't know if. Cool.
Moving on to the most notable things that I've seen in Elite. That is true, Comdad. Sometimes points aren't everything. The most notable things that I've seen in Elite is that contrary to Chally, there's actually only 5 teams in Elite that are 4-4, and 4 of them are in Lunar.
Holy
So
cow.
where you have all of that parity and everyone in Chally is stuck in the middle like that, everyone in Elite is very spread out. Out of those 32 teams, only 5 of them are 4-4. So it's going to be really interesting to watch the trends of the season to see if any teams who start out a little bit colder can make their way up after, not the best start, or if any of these teams that are just blazing at the beginning start to cool off. So moving on, and the next most interesting thing, I guess, is that looking at all the stat, SPV, and IDR leaders, almost all of them, minus just Old Greg, are actually master demotes. And it's a really interesting part of Elite after being here for a while. That is something to kind of note. You're right, Tinsel. Elite is always all over the place, and it's always ran by master demotes. And so I just want to start a brief conversation, because if you look at Chally, a lot of the players will be people who have been there before and gotten a little bit better, like the Wheelman, right? Going from an 8 to 100 is an incredible growth. You don't really see things like that in Elite. It's really hard to get vet promos dominating in Elite. It's a very large skill jump. And I find that... What are your thoughts on why that might be?
Well, it's such a big. Sorry, go ahead.
You're playing in Master, and then you play against people who are not Master.
Yes, but you see the All-Stars in other tiers are frequently not only demotes from the tier above. You have growth into that spot, which isn't really there.
I would think I don't know if I'm vet. I don't know anything above vet, but I feel like the skill difference between Master and Elite is, I'm guessing, I don't know, bigger than Chally and Rival.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
something I was going to bring up. At the lower tiers, it's a lot closer in terms of general skill. Like, Rival and Chally really aren't that far apart. There's a couple different things that Rival does do. Like, maybe rotations are a little more spread out, a little bit less team-oriented ball. But at the same time, though, like, moving from... It's one of the reasons why the lower tiers double promos are super common, right? Like, you can go from Ami to Prospect, or Contender to Chally. Like, it happens.
But it's like Chally to Rival, you can still make Chally mistakes, and the Rival people aren't gonna really capitalize on those mistakes. But going from Elite to Master, in Master, they're gonna learn to capitalize on Elite mistakes. So when they come back down to Elite, they notice the Elite mistakes and they win games.
Absolutely.
And that just doesn't happen down there.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Absolutely.
Fair point.
So,
I know. Oh, Go
Oh,
ahead.
you're good. So I was always told, and I agree with you guys, that the skill gap or the jump from vet to elite is like the biggest jump of any tier. I don't know why. That's what I was always told. So for me, it makes sense and proves that if we don't have veteran promos that are exceeding in the tier, so they need time to get used to it, right? So it's going to take, a month, maybe 2 months into the season before you see the vet promos start to actually catch up, get to the skill and the pace of it. And I think that's when you'll see the vet promos actually start to get higher up on the SPV.
That's a really
Speaking
good
of
point.
that, it means we should really be paying attention to Yul Brenner, right? They were the highest SPV out of vet last season, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Close to it,
Definitely
yeah.
going to be a player to watch them as they transition to elite and see how they play.
Absolutely. And that is actually a perfect segue into my next point, which is that one of the other very notable things about Elite is that we have some very elusive high tier double promos.
Oh
Um,
no.
as we are talking about Vet to Elite being the largest jump in skill, which I agree with, in RSC, we actually had 3 players make the jump from Rival to Elite this season. They're all doing well, but before I get into that, I want to ask if you guys believe that it should be possible to get, or there should be 3 players in a season or whatnot. I think that the jump from Rival to Elite in average speed, average gameplay, you're going from 1300 to 1600, and that's Champ 3 to GC2. I don't think it's fair or productive for any specifically individual player to make that double jump. What are your guys' thoughts?
It
I think
seems. Go ahead, boss.
I was going to say I think it should be an extremely rare case by case because there's very few people who are going to make that jump and perform because like you're saying you're going from C2 C3 to like GC2 some GC3s
Yeah.
in that area and that pace of play is incredibly different. The skill set's incredibly different. There's far less mistakes and it can ruin somebody's RSC like their enjoyment. So
Yeah.
giving them that intermediate one season in vet, unless it's somebody like Justice who had like a
Yeah.
101 SPV.
103 SBV,
103,
broke
my
the
bad.
goal record, assist
I
record, point
hold
record.
on. Don't I know he's on your team, but relax. What I was saying though is it makes sense though because his rank moved up. I think he scraped into GC. Like he's
In
there.
2v2, correct. Yes, correct.
Well, yeah, but my point is he's showing that he can be there rank wise, not just SBV wise. So his makes sense, but others, it's pretty tough.
I think Bosch has been promoted to master. I don't think Elite was enough. So
So,
I'm actually going to go talk to Lass right now and get him
No,
up.
I'm glad you bring this up
Numbers
because
committee.
someone said this at my first combine. I dropped like 4 or 5 goals in like an elite combine, and somebody was like, "We're gonna move this man to master," and I said, "If you do, I will retire. I will be done with RC."
couple things. It's absolutely wild that Numbers saw rival players and was like, "Yeah, you're just better than Vet."
Yeah.
Nah, just no thanks. And then you brought up making mistakes, and like I go back to the Master Elite mistakes. Just you're gonna make rival mistakes in Elite, and I could twist it to be a good thing that them Elite players aren't gonna be ready for those rival mistakes.
Yeah, I mean,
That's also true.
it's. I think what it comes down to for me is that they're by getting double promoed, you're clearly good enough to be there. The question becomes, is it productive? I think it almost always would require an adjustment season. I don't think I'm going in. I have a double promo on my team who has the mechanics of a GC3. He's an absolute monster. And that said, he's never hit 1500 in threes, and he's really needs to adjust to the pace.
I hate to cut you off here. I
Yeah.
definitely think this is a subject matter that we can really hammer out for a whole segment, but we definitely still have quite a bit left to cover tonight.
Alrighty.
One more thing, just for Tinsel in the chat. I would agree that it's not a skill gap when you're talking about 1 tier promos. that it's more of a consistency thing. When you're talking about 2-tier promos, that is a huge skill gap.
Right, and that's what we were kind of talking about there. But for sure,
Anyway,
well, we need to come back and actually address that point.
I think it's a fascinating discussion, and I think we should save the bulk of it for another time. But so just skipping to past it, touching on how those double promos are doing, they're actually all, after all of that conversation, doing really, really well. Yours truly, Boss Radala, has a 52 SBV and a 56 IDR with a 7-1 record. Not Ido has a 55 SBV and a 35 IDR with a 4-0 record. And my teammate Justice, formerly known as Cloudy RL, has a 34 SBV, a 79 IDR, and a 2-2 record. So despite this double jump that we're talking about and mandatory adjustment period, they're clearly making it. So it's gonna be really fascinating to keep track of that as we move forward.
One of those guys is on a goated team.
Oh
Yeah, he is. Thanks for thinking my Cosmos Elite team is that good.
Absolutely wasn't talking about you, but sure.
But moving past that one, we have our best matchups in Elite. Matchups to watch, things I'm really excited for. We have the Sloths at 7-1 and against the Anju, who are 6-2 on match day 3. Sloth plays a completely different game than Anju, as they're a team effort. Every single player is between a 57 and a 67 SPV. So they are completely splitting the workload, playing each man working together. So it's a really team comprehensive Rocket League. Whereas Anju is Anthej's team. And if you remember, Anthej is 3rd in SPV, and he's the one who's been in Master for a while. So he's actually the only player on his team with above a 50. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this team spearheaded by an MVP candidate is able to hold off this very well-rounded threat. My next one that I find really interesting is Vibranium versus Aquarius in match day 3. They both have extremely well-rounded seasons with everyone contributing on both sides of the ball. But Vexing Vertigo on Aquarius has put up an extremely well-rounded stat line with 10 goals, 8 assists, and 8 saves for reference, 8 matches. So they are averaging 1 or more in every single statistic for the entire first week, which is really, really impressive. And on the other side, you got my guy Donald, another Elite mainstay, and anyone who's been around here for a while knows he's a hooligan as well. But he's been doing great, and it should be really, really interesting to see how they match up with each other. Also, Chu, we're only doing deep dives today on Chally and Elite. Okay, you got it covered.
God, we're already at like
We're zooming
40
through.
minutes.
Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Just keep going. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
The third really exciting matchup that I think is going to be coming this week is on match day 5 with your current MVP favorite, Palo Soul, and the Ghastly Goombas go on to take the Ravioli Rangers. Palo and Boss are going to be on the Ghastly Goombas. They've been going absolutely insane. Palo has 12 goals, 8 assists, and 17 saves so far. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see if he's able to keep up this pace.
Shout out Krieger. I think
Shout
you're
out
on the
Krieger
team.
as well.
Krieger's also on that team.
also incredible. He just isn't the MVP or on the podcast, so I didn't mention his name. My apologies. You're a beast. We scrimmed you. You're a monster. And on the other side, you have 2 of my friends as well, Nebulade and Likewise. Welcome back to the league, buddy. It's going to be really... I think that team, even though they're only 5-3, it's not a bad record, pretty solid. I think that they have potential to really be a favorite in Elite this season if they're able to put their pieces together. So with you guys being 7-1 and them having such a high ceiling of performance, it's going to be really
Cool. And that kind of wraps up our exclusive 8 clips of the week number 5. In the past, we've done our polls through Discord, and that's been kind of all over the place. But this week, we're going to do it a little differently here. Hannon, if you want to go ahead, take it away and explain this for everybody watching at home, how they can participate.
All right, chat. It's a little scuffed, but you will see a poll is open for E8. You have to use !vote and then the number of the clip you wanted to vote for. So if you wanted to vote for clip 4, you will !vote space 4. And that is how you will vote for the clip. We will come back to the end of the results at the end of the stream. You win a fancy role in the pre-jump Discord, and that is it.
Hey, you know, it's a nice different color. Set yourself apart of everybody else. Lets everybody know that you had the best clip for that week. But go ahead if you think you saw. Can't speak. You think you saw somebody you like their clip for? Vote for them. Let them know you care.
You get 1 vote, and it is up for 20 minutes. So you got 20 minutes to vote.
That's a fair amount of time.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
That's long enough.
Also, I completely scuffed exiting the video because I did not watch the video ahead of time. I'm not gonna lie. So for 3 seconds, all 4 of us were just.
I mean, it is what it is.
Which is why instead of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I said 5. Oh, go.
We're still learning.
Yeah.
But moving on to our next section here, as we allow the vote to go in the comment section, we're going to talk about permanent rewards, something that T-Sant, who unfortunately could not be here, was dying to talk about and was really upset he wasn't going to get to kind of put his piece in. The rewards, right? Like your all-star, your MVP, having those next to your name permanently.
I might be a little bit biased, but essentially what we're talking about here is if you win an MVP or get an all-star, you get a little role next to, or a little icon next to your name, right? And that goes away at the end of every season, whereas every trophy that you get stays. And so what we're going to be discussing is the exact, I don't know, disparity between that, why one stays and one doesn't.
You get an MVP and you don't get to keep your MVP thing at all, and that's pretty wild to me. You don't stop being that season's MVP. You don't stop being that season's all-star. You don't stop being that season's champ.
So, I guess my thing is there a role limit to Discord? Because
No.
the RSC channels have an absurd amount of roles already previously established. Like, I couldn't imagine having just an absolute monster of roles in this thing.
So the role and the star at the end of the name are different things. The role is something you get that when you click on someone's name, you see what role they're in. The star, they just change your nickname and literally add an emoji after your nickname.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
do keep the role.
Okay, but that'd be a decent amount of work though to put in that all-star, right? Like the constantly for every single season. All right, this guy already has one. Does he still have? Did he actually earn one? Like, I don't know. That seems like that could be a lot of work.
So they already do it. They add more work by taking it away.
Yeah.
So that is actually a bot command, to be honest. It's literally just we do a phrase, put in the person's Discord ID, boom, it automatically does it for us.
It's still more work to take it away though, like by definition.
Well, it's just another command.
Yeah, but it's a more command. It's one more command you have to do.
Oh no, I'm not fighting.
I sound abrasive. I
You know
don't
what?
mean to.
We're now fighting.
I'll go
Take
get
them all. Take
Square
them all
up.
away. Take them
Right
all
now.
away.
on the trampoline. Meet me on
All
the
of them.
meet me on the trampoline.
I'm not gonna lie, man. That is the smallest trampoline I think I've ever seen
It's
in the
for
background.
it's for a 2-year-old.
Look, I'm just saying. I step on that thing breaks in a heartbeat.
It's for a 2-year-old.
And we all find out that it's not for his child; it's actually for him.
You know, I kind of wanted to see him go through his own trampoline there.
Oh, if that breaks, I will come back every week for free.
He would be he would be livid, and I'd be buying a new one tomorrow.
Oh
Oh,
god.
you could go in tonight to Walmart to find another one.
So Poke Ninja says maybe you should only have it if you won solar, lunar, and yeah, that's what we're saying. So Didn't we find out that MVPs don't get a cool little emoji next to their name at all?
They don't.
They don't get anything.
You get the star for being an all-star, but the MVP and all-stars are not distinguished.
Well, as the only MVP from Rival last season.
All right, you're being muted.
Okay.
No, but still, like, you're correct. You should absolutely have something next to your name. Like, you get a role, but who's clicking on people's names to see if they were an MVP?
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like that's got to be like a petty argument thing that you're like, they said they're good at the game. Let me go check and see what they were last.
But also,
Exactly.
it requires you having like a truly special season to win MVP, right? Like there's been what?
Sure.
So this is season 17 of RSC. There's what 9 tiers, right? So hypothetically, is what 146 different MVPs if no one ever repeated. And 146 over like how many seasons or how many people have played in this, right? In RSC, there's 7,000 people in the Discord, and so 146 have done at most, assuming no one has ever repeated as an MVP.
Are you talking just overall MVP or
Yeah,
Solar
just-
and Lunar MVP?
Just overall MVP.
Well,
Okay.
it would be less than that because we never always had 9 tiers. So
Fair. So then let's bring the number. Let's estimate to 120 even, right? And saying that some people have repeated from the tiers, let's call it 100. Purely spitballing numbers. That's a group of 100 people out of 7,000. That is a really cool group to be a part of. I worked really hard to win an MVP. Boss worked really hard to win an MVP.
No.
If you had a truly, no, I didn't. Right? That's my double promo.
I'm just the best that's ever been, that's ever done it.
Dude, I don't. Do you think I hit trading? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think this
Point
is?
is-
Sweat League?
Point is, it's not something that happens. It's not all willy nilly, right? You have to have a truly special season with a special group of guys. And I think it's cool to commemorate that. And yes, a role is dope, but if your trophies stay, more people win trophies than get MVPs. I guess technically the same amount if you want to do Solar and Lunar, right? So like, I do believe that there should be an MVP thing that sticks next to your name. You're not realistically going to get more than 3, and you got a bunch of people running around with 3 trophies next to their name.
Well, and I guess so. We talked about this kind of last time. Isn't that really formally like permanently stored in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, but who is going to go look at the website?
So yes,
Dude, who's looking through?
No.
Who's looking through people's like tags to be like,
If you-
were you the season 4 MVP of AMI?
but no,
if you just have a star or a crown or something that says you were an MVP, you don't have to look at it. It's there.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's if it's there that you won a championship, and it could be 8 seasons ago in amateur, and now you're in premier, and it means absolutely nothing. That's the same thing that the MVP could,
Like,
right? Like the argument you're making for that also goes for the trophies. And there's just more trophies to go around than there are MVPs.
my thing is that you get something next to your name for All-Star, but you don't for the higher echelon of award.
Yeah.
There's championship, All-Star, MVP. You get something for the top, you get something for the bottom, but you don't get anything for the one above the bottom, which is the middle, by the way. I know math. It doesn't sit in my brain.
I agree.
I mean, so I think we're all kind of in agreement though. Then, unless anybody else is disagreement, there should be some.
And creds? Why?
why what?
Why isn't there something for MVPs next to your name?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I was hoping you did.
It's probably that nobody brought it up, honestly.
Yeah. Well, now
sure.
we are. You know, we're
I don't
the martyrs for change.
I don't get it.
You know, it always starts with somebody bringing it up first, and I think that's what we're doing here tonight. We can always pop it into the serious suggestions tab and see if that's something they do.
Yeah.
Like I said, you think it's not a lot of work, so we should be able to sell it as that. It's not a lot of work. It definitely shows that we value people's their work. So we'll see how that goes.
And now that we're officially affiliated with RSC, right? Those are channels that we have access to. So it's another really, really exciting part of us being a part of this actual
Yeah,
organization.
first.
Everyone
What
has
do you mean?
access to the
Everyone
RSC
has access to
Serious
that.
Suggestions channel.
I know, no, I'm saying like not having like actual access, but like now that we are a part of RSC, right? We have a little bit of a voice, and I think that's more of what I'm getting at is that hey, the pre-jump podcast all believes this. It makes sense.
Rob is speaking for himself, not for the podcast.
Yeah,
Rob,
sounds good.
Rob,
Yeah,
speaking-
never mind. Forget I said anything actually.
I'm just excited to see the fight on what the
Give me my
symbol
icon.
It's a crown. It's a
Yeah.
crown. It's absolutely a crown.
Yeah, see, somebody's gonna think something different, and it's not gonna be a crown. I'm telling you right
That person is wrong.
He said that person's wrong.
He's
now. I'm
wrong.
not saying they are not. I'm just saying it's gonna be an argument that that's a crown. That's dumb.
I'm saying that person's wrong. It's a crown.
You know, I actually do look forward to that argument. It's gonna be
I'm telling
a
you,
great way to relax and just drink.
Yeah,
It's gonna be- they
We should
usually
make a drinking game out of the argument for
Oh,
all people who are
no.
21 plus.
I'll be
no.
in the argument because it's a crown.
Yeah, well, I also think it should be a crown. We should just take the
Chat.
podcast
Hey.
there.
Chat,
Pre-jumpers,
should it be a
let
crown?
us know. Let us know in the chat. Should it be a crown? But while we're letting, oh, sorry, go ahead, Encreds. What's going on?
I just got a text from my girlfriend saying the symbol should be a heart. I see. This is the shit I'm talking about.
Well, she's wrong.
Just unfortunately, she's not a mod in RSC, so I don't.
More unfortunately, she is incorrect.
You don't know that.
I do. It should be a crown.
That is true. They
I'm
may
not.
be a mod.
But I'm glad we're in agreement here. Let's go ahead and move on to our first ever RSC trivia, hosted by Mr. Rob over here.
Alrighty, welcome to RSC Trivia, where I ask fun RSC-based questions, and you try to guess what
Whoa,
the
who's-
answer is.
When you say you, are you talking us?
Yes,
No.
all three of you.
Oh,
I'm
God.
interested to see who gets it first, and with or without a hint.
This is another test that I did not study for. And
Chat.
quite frankly,
I don't think they have chat up. I will definitely cheat if you tell me the answer.
Maybe the chat knows the answer.
I will absolutely cheat.
Going into the first question of our ever RSC history or RSC trivia, what pre-jumpers is the most amount of demos inflicted anyone has ever had in any tier in a season? Who is
189.
it, and what tier?
189, and it's veteran.
189 in vet is one guess.
Oh, Snack's gonna be mad at me if I get this wrong.
I don't know, like, I'm going to say 200. Is this the Price is Right? Do I just need to be one above
You just have to be
Cannon to
closer.
win?
You just have to be whoever's closest wins.
Oh, then I'm saying 190, and I'm saying elite.
190 in elite
I hate him.
and end creds.
So we're doing prices right. They're over, right?
Oh, no.
Are you-
Oh, no.
Everyone's gonna get sandwiched.
I guess 185.
Oh,
that's
okay.
so
You
funny.
just sandwiched it. Let's go.
Cannon is only between 186 and 188. Could he ever be right? And what tier do you think that it's in, Creds?
Was it amateur? Was it Chelsea that did that last season?
No one actually has the tier yet. The answer is 169 demos by a player by the name of Rated on Xenon in Season 11 in Master.
In
Oh.
Master?
In Master, 169 demos.
See,
Those
the
are
issue
nuts.
is no one cares about Masters, so I don't know.
I
That's true.
got the 9 correct,
That's true, and the 1.
and
Those are
2 of us got the 1
those are
correct.
some Really
That's
players.
true.
Like those
Yeah.
Master players move fast. Like that's got to be tough. But
It's gonna be. I would not have expected the most demos ever to be in a Master season for the exact. Not only do they move that quickly to demo you, they also are that aware and dodge that quickly, and that's in 60-something games. 169 demos is 3 a game for an entire season. That's insane.
Master is the most toxic. It makes sense.
It does. It does
Alright.
make sense. Okay,
no,
so
no points.
no
do we want to
points.
award closest?
No, absolutely
No,
not. No,
no,
we
gotta
no.
be, we gotta be right.
Are we
Alright.
baby gamers?
So, fun fact. If you guys were paying attention to the chat, the answer to this one was actually typed in chat during this stream. Fun fact, not by me. Who is leading all of RSC in goals right now? What tier are they in, and how many is it?
I'm gonna go with the Wheelman 95 and Chally with 16.
Okay.
That's my best guess.
Anyone else have any guesses? The hint is that it's actually in rival.
Oh God.
No,
if
you
it's
already guessed. You
rival-
already guessed. You already guessed. Try again. No, I don't try again. Just kidding.
They were mentioned by Chulane earlier in the stream in the chat.
Oh, read on.
Red-
Read. I said it first. Read on.
Red
Read on.
Nova Ultimate.
No, I already
From
said
Dalmatian.
it. He guessed. He
17.
guessed already. He guessed
Yeah.
already. He guessed already. Absolutely not. He guessed already. I said it first. Try again. I win.
You didn't say Red Nova. You said Read On.
That's his name.
You were thinking of Reedy Orange, I think.
Nah, absolutely not.
He's number 2 in SPV and Chally.
I want my point.
I will say, Hannond, I did not hear you say the name Red Nova Ultimate. Point 1 of RSC trivia will have to go to Boss Radala.
So we get
Let's go.
we get 2 guesses.
I hate this place.
We get 2 guesses.
Oh god. We're still ironing out the details.
It's really good that I'm making the graphics for this next week, so no, he doesn't get a point.
good.
Mm.
Sounds good. And the final one. We'll see if you get this, Hannond. I do have one more for a tiebreaker. This one is going to last season. How many cycles do you think led all tiers for RSC for all-around player last season, and what tier and who are they?
The cycle's 1-1-1-1.
Yeah,
Yes.
one across the
You
board.
need one of everything.
So
There's
1-1-1-1. That's
64
what I said.
matches played. Yeah, there's 64 matches played in the 32 team tiers. This was in a 32 team tier.
If I guess the tier correctly, do I get the point?
You do not.
I'll go first. I got it.
Okay.
It's rival, and it's 33. And can I guess the person?
Your first 2 are wrong, but if you want to guess a name too, sure.
I don't want to guess it. I was gonna say me as a joke.
Oh. Well, I guess it's Boss's turn to guess because Hannon made the great point that people shouldn't be allowed to guess twice.
How dare you say I'm wrong and give them information that I didn't have?
We'll take turns.
I'm going to guess Elite, and I'm going to guess they're pretty. I'm pretty sure it was the main. Chips.
It was indeed Chips.
Um,
Your mic is not working.
No, I was trying not to scream at the top of my lungs from how excited I was for
Let's
getting that
go.
right.
Did he
It is
really?
indeed Chips. It is Chips as thought
God.
with 22 cycles.
Let's go.
He pulled it up.
I'm gonna put a trophy in my closet. I'm gonna buy one tomorrow.
I need an icon in my name in RSC server for my trivia points.
How did you
100
know that? How
100.
do you just sit
No.
at your computer and look at stats? Like,
No, what? No, one of the so a player that I know used to be in the server. His name's Melon. He was, I can't remember if it was like vet or elite or something, but he had talked about this player. So that was like my only elite.
Yeah, Chips was a monster in Elite last season. He made his like own player rankings like every week and
That's
just dropped
awesome.
them in the Elite chat. It
That's
was so
awesome.
toxic.
that's
it was
awesome.
so funny. Yeah, it was great. It was extremely motivating. I'd be like, am I on Chips' top players in Elite this week? Maybe.
Hold on. We got enough
Inceptions,
time
he
for-
definitely just does.
We got enough time for another question. Come on.
Alrighty. On the other side of our demo question, what is the most demos anyone has ever taken in a season? What tier and who are they?
I'm not going first this time.
I think there was an AMI player last season that was bragging about getting demoed them. It's like I think it was Sinbri, and they said they got demoed like 120 times or some nonsense like that.
If that's true, that broke the record that I was aware of.
I'm just I heard them talking
So
about
so
it.
now you tell me what he got incorrect.
It is not that tier or that player
Or that number. Okay.
or that number.
95 master.
So, Hannon, would you like me to just keep going back and forth?
No,
or
no, 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 no,
after-
no. 95. And Creds
Alrighty.
gets to guess.
Encreds, what are you thinking?
Well, isn't this a tiebreaker for you guys?
No, I don't care. I don't have a point.
Oh, he can't. No, he can't tiebreaker. I got 2 points.
He got 1 point.
Last time I checked, I'm the only admin here, so Boston doesn't have any points.
Oh,
I have at least
Oh
1
my
point
God.
here.
Oh my gosh.
At least one.
So it wasn't master, it wasn't amateur.
Correct.
Okay. Let's go with 110 and premier.
The answer is 83 in elite, which is way fewer than you would think.
Yeah.
With the most demos inflicted being 160, but if you think about it, you can demo 3 separate players,
Right.
right? Where if you're being demoed, it's only 1 out of 3, so 1 out of every 3 demos hypothetically on your team. But yeah, so 83 demos by 2J6 on Fire in season 14 was demoed 83 times. That would suck, man.
Dude,
I would
I hate being kidding
Yeah,
me?
yeah. For the future, if there's any messed up stat, it's probably an elite.
This is true.
So that wraps up the first ever RSC trivia section on the Pre-Jump podcast.
thank you, Rob. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to do a few more of those in the future.
That was a lot
For
of fun.
sure.
I won't study.
I will enjoy winning more trivia night. Hannon, I see
Yes.
that the vote. Which clip?
Number 1, clip 1.
Number 1, clip 1 would be Spark Nova. Your clip of the week, week 5, would be Spark Nova. That's your winner for today. this week.
40% of the votes.
Nice.
I believe there were 5 votes.
Congratulations, Spark Nova. Congratulations.
You will get a fancy role in the Discord, in the Pre-Jump Discord, if you exist in the Pre-Jump Discord.
I hope they do, because this would only be the second time that's happened.
Well, they posted it in the Pre-Jump Discord.
Good. Okay. Good. Going into our last segment of the night, though, we've got our serious suggestions. Kind of a fun one tonight. Really, a rule or a rule change that's been suggested by Bob. Changing how free agency works. Let me pull this up here. He had much better wording than what I could possibly.
How does it work now? Does it work in a specific way? You just have free agents and you can sign free agents?
So
No, he's talking
currently,
about subbing, I think. is the-
yes. So
Oh, okay.
FA. So you technically can't sub 2 match nights in a row for the same team. They eliminate that, and I don't know the exact reasoning why, and I'm hoping, Encreds, you kind of know the why for that.
So the part of the rule change that they're bringing up isn't that. So the reason why you can't use the same sub twice is because if you're gonna do that, why don't you just sign them? You know what I mean? Like
True.
if you're gonna use the same sub over and over and try to do every match night, like that's one, abusing the system, especially if it's a perma, and 2, like, why don't you just sign them?
That's
So
fair.
what they're trying to change is the like the nightly substitutions. So right now, I don't know. I know Roberts knows. I know Boss knows. I'm not sure if Hannah knows. Right now there are trying to think of the words, exceptions when you go to sign somebody for a night. So you have a max exemption, you have a mid exemption, and then that's it. So
Okay.
there's basically like rules to who you can and who you can't sub in for your team, depending on who you're subbing out. And they're trying to change those. Or
Okay.
actually get rid of them for the most part.
So
Yeah.
how does that work with a max exception? I have absolutely no idea as a extremely underpaid AGM right now. So if you can explain that to me, that'd be great for season
Okay,
17.
that's fine. So the way it works is, for a max exemption, you can basically anybody you want as long as they fit cap still. You can never exceed cap.
Sure.
So for a max exemption, doesn't matter. As long as you fit cap, whoever you want.
Can I piggyback really quick?
Yeah.
So specifically, why this matters is that if I have a player who's, let's say, let's talk about challenger, right? And let's say the tier max is 1290, tier min is 1170, right? If I have a tier min player like an 1170 who I need to sub, who makes my team work, right? I need him, and then let's say I have a 1215, and that 1215 can't make it there. I could take someone higher than him as long as it fits my salary cap with the max exception. But the other one has to be under that. So
Yeah,
you can
so-
get a player that costs more than your own with a max exception as long as it fits under the salary cap.
Okay.
And then the mid exemption is, I believe they have to be between your second and third roster player MMR wise. So if your second is like 1215, your third's 1245, like it has to be right there in between.
Okay.
And that's your mid exception. And you get one of each for each team per season. It's a beautiful thing. If you go to the contract sheet, there's actually like you have a whole sheet that shows you which exemptions you've used, which ones you haven't, and all that stuff.
Also, if you go to your pinned messages in your transactions channel, boss, there's a more detailed description of exactly how those exceptions work.
Yes.
Hey, fair point. I mean, that makes sense. The other one we really had for tonight was the ditching playoff reseeding, which I'm 150%
T-Stance in chat and might actually be able to type what he thinks about it.
I said acknowledge my presence.
Acknowledge
Thank you for
his
doing that,
presence.
and
What is he levitating above the rest of us?
Yeah.
Chat, sorry about the audible typing you heard. I was actually asking T-Sand if he wanted to come onto the call for this, but he cannot.
That's
So, Pokey, I see your question. The exemptions have been in ever since I've been here. So, like season 6 or 5, like we've always had exemptions. I don't know what you mean by what it means for a temp contract.
I'm guessing they mean like a sub.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like,
T-Stance joining the call.
T-Sands joining the call. Crazy.
I'm getting out of here then. Can't be around that guy.
That's
At least he asked first. I messaged him back. He's gonna join. He messaged me in all caps. Let me join the bad word call. Let me join, please. I can join. I have opinions.
Hey, that's a fair point. Mr. T-Sant, how do you feel about ditching playoff?
I think playoff reseeding is quite possibly the worst idea ever. It makes absolutely zero sense. I don't know why they do it.
I
Would you like to know how they do it?
That's a lot of.
I would love to hear why they do it so I can say why I hate it.
So, I don't know if you guys have heard of this person, but his name is Wanma. You guys have heard of Wanma?
I have.
Okay, Wanma was a GM back in the day. Wanma was very, very, very good with math. Like, probably better than all of us combined, all 5. Not a shot against you guys, just he was very, very good at math.
I'm terrible
Sure.
at math. I'm awful. So, I'm not disagreeing there.
I trust
So
you.
so he loved numbers, and he deep dove. I can't remember exactly what he did, but he ran everything through like sheets and stuff, and the numbers that he ran showed that I think the 4th overall seed for like the last 8 seasons always got the toughest strength of schedule in playoffs, and like certain teams were getting screwed, and certain teams were having like 8 seeds were like coasting through, and like 4 seeds were getting screwed over. Like I don't know exactly how it worked, but he set it all out. Like he did all this work, and the reseeding made sense. So I know we hate it now, but that's like he did a bunch of work. It's somewhere in GMO.
I get his numbers make sense here, but there's something about it, right? So last season for season 15, my first season, I got picked up by the Swiss Swindlers. Shout out to Strut and Root Bear. We played in the opening round of the playoffs against the #1 Wasps team. We eliminated it from the playoffs, and I was especially excited. We took out the 1 seed. maybe we get easier competition. No, we had to play the 2 seeds. So like, for me, it was kind of a whoa, what the heck kind of moment.
That's
I think
how it
it's-
would go in sports, though, too. The 1 seed plays the 8th seed, the 2 seed plays the 7th seed, and if the 8th seed beats the 1 seed, then the 2 seed and the 2 seed wins.
Because the 2 and the 7th seed are in the lower bracket
Lower
typically,
seventh
or in a
bracket.
Oh,
separate
you're right.
bracket.
You're right. I'm
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
Only in
No.
the NFL do they reseed.
They don't even reseed the NFL, do
They
they?
don't
don't.
reseed the NFL.
they don't.
I'm pretty sure they
Um,
reseed
They
the
don't.
NFL.
They don't reseed the NFL.
point is with reseeding, the premise of it is to reward the best teams for having the best seasons. If it was an equal playing ground in playoffs, there is no reason to go for the 1 seed. There is no reward for getting a top overall seed if you, I don't know. Obviously, the regular seeding is there, right? But it gives you an even extra edge. Like if you earn that, you deserve it. If the 8 seed beats the 1 seed, right, and I'm the 2 seed, I should be rewarded. I had the second best season overall. I should be able to play that 8 seed. If that 8 seed is that good, maybe they take out the 2 seed too. They just beat the best team in the tier. So I'm on the side of abolishing reseeding. I think reseeding mathematically may be correct, but I had a situation in my vet playoffs, or my major playoffs as it was called at the time, where we literally got 3 matches into round 2 of playoffs, and I was playing the wrong team, and neither team realized it. It's very silly. Don't need to address it right now. But that was unfortunate. It would avoid any confusion, and it would, I think, standardize playoffs in a very positive way, so you know your road to the finals. I think it's cool to be able to say we got to beat these guys, and these guys back to back, right? I think there's value to that.
I mean,
That said,
also, we already basically do a reseed because we reward the division winners, even though that's a whole another topic of why we should or shouldn't do that.
Official Bob, great call out. He did say the NFL does reseed. I want my apologies now.
But
oh my
they
goodness.
don't.
I will never apologize
do.
to you
They
ever
do.
in my life, boss.
How do they reseed? It's
So
1 through
it's-
7.
But it's kind of the same way we do it now. Like it's the like high seeds get the easiest path to the Super Bowl, playing against the lowest seed at the
Yeah,
time.
but they
That's
don't
not reseeding. That's if the lower teams keep winning, they keep playing the better teams. That's not reseeding.
Yeah, they don't reseed. I don't know any sports league that does reseed.
I googled it here. It says it does reseed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what
think-
reseeding means.
Regardless, getting a little bit off track.
Yeah, my
I
bad,
think
my bad.
Even it's all good. Even if one, like, cool, 1 out of the 5 major sports does it, right? And like it's fine. I don't know.
Poke
They also
Ninja
have first
also
round
brings up.
bye.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Poke Ninja also brings up a good point. When you are like that 8th seed, you know who you have to go through at the beginning of the playoffs. You can game plan.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value to that.
Well, I think that's who you're going to play if you don't reseed. Like guaranteed it's going to be between one of these 2 teams, but you don't know if the 7th seed's going to upset the 2nd. So you might be playing the 3rd seed. You could be
Exactly.
playing the 4th seed. So I do personally prefer a more structured, non-reseeded version.
I agree. Even though I was playing devil's advocate earlier, just for some points, I do genuinely agree that there should be no reseeding.
Is again, like the reseeding, the argument is you want to give the best teams the easiest path, sure. Then why do we reward division winners? That already screws up the seeding. Because you have one division that's way better than every other team. Even if they have the 2nd and 3rd best record in the league, they're going to be the 5th and 6th seed at best.
That's just
So
a
that
thing in
already
sports.
takes the argument kind of out of there. I mean, not really. Look at the NBA, 82-game season. Doesn't matter if you win your division. It just goes by record.
Yeah, but then I can
Divisions
say look
don't
at the
really matter.
NFL and look at the Bucks.
I mean, okay, sure, it's the NFL. They also only play 16 games.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you, just kind of weirdly.
Something that the NBA also was talking about that we could do for RSC is removing division. I know that they did talk about doing divisions to help build rivalries, but with the amount of player movement that goes on, I don't really feel like there's rivalries being built.
What team is bringing back even 2 players for more than like 2 seasons in a row?
That's true.
Right. But
And
that's
if they
something
are,
that we
they're
should,
probably not that good.
if we're
for
gonna
that
do
team.
reseeding, that's something we could do though, because then the best teams are guaranteed that line of logic.
There are rivalries though. We learned that with Skim in episode 1. Like there are franchise rivalries.
I don't know. I don't feel.
You don't?
I don't feel that.
I don't think so. You have GMs who you converse with, and you have your interactions with them may vary from positive to negative to heated to not to rivalry, whatever it is, doesn't feel like the right word to me because the divisions change every season and every tier.
That I didn't
Right.
know. That I didn't know.
And if you want to keep the divisions forever, sure. But like, I got assigned a division with. I'm in a division with GMs that I don't know, and I know like 7, 8 of them, right? Like this is my first full season, so I don't know everybody, right? But like, I have personally a much larger rivalry with the GMs that I'm friends with, right? Like a buddy Nick M, he's the new GM of the Garden, and it's his first official season as it's my first official season, and he's a good friend of mine. We're going to land together. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But point is, that would be something that I would consider a rivalry.
Yeah.
Because I know that person. If it's a GM that I'm in a division with who I don't know, it doesn't spur any emotion, you know? I'm not invested.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. That makes
I
sense.
I completely agree with everything he just said.
Thank you, distant voice from nowhere.
Oh, no
Yeah,
problem.
right.
I'm glad I can contribute.
Voice from above.
That's what I'm here for.
How's work?
Yeah,
You know, it's work.
Cookie, you are right. There used to be rivalries, but ever since we started changing divisions, they're just not there anymore.
Wait, how often do they change divisions?
Every
Was it
season.
once every?
I think it's.
Is it every season?
I think it's every season or every 2 seasons.
I didn't know they changed
I feel like
divisions.
every-
That's wild.
I think
the
it's every
interesting-
2. I don't think
I
they
think
changed the first 2 seasons I was here.
I think the
Well,
most
we just
interesting
started.
discussion would be altering the duration the seasons or the divisions stay. Right? If you say, "Oh, for the next 5 seasons, these are your primary competition," I think that would be really cool. And then maybe it switches up, or maybe 3 seasons, right? But like 1 or 2 is not long enough for me to be like, because then your players would also develop rivalries, and I think that would be really cool. Oh man, this dude on Boss's rival team moved up to vet. My rival team really, they lost to them in playoffs. Oh my goodness, right? So then I really want to beat them. My guys move up to vet, and they know they're still going to be playing the guys from that franchise, right? And that's still their division. I think that would be a really cool part of this, is if you could play against the same people more frequently, tier to tier.
So the issue with that is,
Boss, your camera's gone.
we just lost Boss.
Wouldn't
So
be
the
an
issue-
RSC stream without a little bit of scuffed, apparently. So
This is not on me.
no.
Um,
No,
So
but we're still gonna blame you anyways, Grenade. It's all right.
That's fair. Welcome back.
there he is.
Hey, that's very good.
So the issue with what Rob said, sadly, is that with the amount of GM turnover, we have to change the divisions because no GM
Okay.
stays, right?
That's
like
fair.
for instance, we're both newer GMs, like
Yeah.
And I
The
know,
GM before me was 8 seasons.
yeah, I think Wallaby Gangsta ran numbers on it, and it was us, Bear Den, Sav, and I can't remember what the 4th team was. We were all in a division for like, I don't know, 8 seasons, and we were like dramatically better than the rest of them. So it's just hard with all the change and turnover.
Yeah.
Chulane's been a
that makes a lot
GM
of
since season 5, I think.
Who is Chulane?
Yeah.
We've had this conversation.
That's so funny.
I think it's season 5, but Chulane's been a GM for a very long time.
Is incredible.
That's why I like the intention for them to say, hey, we want to build rivalries, we want to have like a really great time, but it's so short term. There's nothing long term being built.
I mean, I would love it. Like I said, I joined in season 5. When I joined, Tree Frog was my GM, and the franchise was called the Birdcage, and we hated Sav. Like there was a rivalry there. I don't know if it was, a rivalry towards us, but we hated Sav. Like anytime we played Sav, it's like, I don't care what our record is, we need to 4-0 these dudes. So
That's the
Lots
stuff I
changed.
like.
It'd be nice, honestly.
It's just rough. I don't know if it's possible, to be honest, which sucks.
Does anyone have any ideas how to facilitate rivalries?
Keeping divisions the same.
Well, but we were mentioning with the GM turnover, that's not really feasible because
Not changing them every season.
I say we just talk more shit in GM Hub, to be honest.
Listen, man, I talk my shit in GM Hub.
I'm not. I'm not in GM Hub.
Yeah,
I'll do it right now.
I say my piece, man.
Can I talk through you guys?
Yeah,
go
man.
ahead.
Let me know what you want me to say.
Yeah, tell me what you want to say. I'll type it right now for you.
I don't have anything prepared yet. I'll get back to you.
Hold on. I'm going to start it right now.
Hello, all. Hand Grenade has a message for the GM Hub.
Hello, little stinkers.
Oh,
Hanan
boy.
Grenade's message for the GM Hub.
Oh, wow, man.
Syndicate number 1. Everybody else below that. There's my message to the GM Hub.
Nice.
That was true.
I
when Snack
agree
was
with Grenade. That is a great point. Very well said.
Thank you.
It was true when Snack was the GM, but then, now there's T-Sant and Boss. It's not true anymore.
I absolutely agree with the T-Sant and Boss.
Holy.
I
The syndicate
have no
bias is
comments on the
crazy.
matter.
See, I mean, I would love to see rivalries come back. I think it would be great. I just don't know if there's a way to bring them back, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, there's too much turnover. You simply I don't think it's fun.
I think what you're watching right now is a great way we can help facilitate rivalries.
What, just coming on here and talking shit?
Absolutely.
No, I would,
100%.
It can only be a
Absolutely.
rivalry if the other franchise keeps up.
True. It's got to be a two-way street. One-way rivalries don't work.
I disagree.
I mean, that's why we just.
I disagree. The Steelers and the Browns. I say this because I'm from Pittsburgh. The Browns
Did
are
you guys
bad.
lose to the Browns last week? Or last
Yeah.
week?
So like, but in my entire life growing up, the Browns were terrible. But it like
Well, they still hate each other.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. You don't. It doesn't have to be
I
two
think-
ways.
We're saying that
I
both
think,
teams
though,
have to
that-
hate each other.
Oh, I thought you were saying
That's
both teams have to be good.
facilitated by the fans.
Yes.
My bad. I thought you were saying both teams had to
I
be
will
good.
say that's facilitated by the fans.
Not
True.
the Steelers Browns rivalry. Absolutely not. It is the players.
I mean, to that same point, Michigan and Ohio State? Ohio State's owned Michigan in the last 15 years. It's still a rivalry. They
Yeah.
still hate each other.
100%.
I agree, Bob, but it's not as people don't fight in the parking lot.
We could. I mean, I might have to go to Land D Boston and fight Rob.
Anyone wants to meet me outside, catch me in the parking lot.
Catch me outside. How about that?
How about that?
You guys remember when we were talking about playoff reseeding?
Everyone hates it.
I think we're all in agreement that the only person who didn't agree was Encreds, but everybody else was like, yeah, we hate it.
To be honest, it wasn't even.
Does
Encred's, it
Encred's
was
opinion
Bonner.
really matter?
Yes, he's an admin.
I don't know. I reach out to Encreds all the time for his
Oh.
opinion.
I think so.
Be right back. Banning T-Saint. I'll be right back.
You want me to kick him? I'll kick him.
You can give me my MVP role.
I have to drive home anyways. It's been fun stopping by.
Drive safe, T-Sant.
Shout
Thanks for
out
hopping in, man.
ThePreJump. I can't believe we're affiliated. Dream come true. I love you all and good night.
That's a pretty
Drive
good
safe,
send-off to
T-Sant.
this stream. I'm not gonna lie.
I actually, though, it is probably about that time we kind of came to a conclusion here with our final section with a serious suggestion. I do want to go ahead and give.
I'm sorry.
Red Fire.
I want to go ahead and give a thank you to everybody who came in for our first official stream, week 5. Big once again,
There's
big
your-
shout out to Monty.
There's
for-
your week 5. There's your week 5 MVP. Red Fire.
Red Fire. Red Fire 0817.
Oh god. Once again, shout out to Monty for doing a lot of middleman for us here to help get us affiliated. So thank you for all the work that you've done. Once again, though, This has been myself, Hannon on the desk, Robert's with us, and guest starring tonight was Quan, otherwise known as Encreds. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good night.
Every time you look into my eyes, I know I'm yours. All you want is to see me down and begging on the floor. Don't stop moving 'cause I like the way you choose me just right. I never backing down, never knowing when to stop. I want to know back on you. 'Cause your love's the only one I know. Just one more chance is all I need. I'll lift you up and set you free. I will take you. Don't know if I'm really gonna make it, but I tried. I don't know if you really feel like I do. Losing my objective slowly out of sight. Just tell me how to make it right.